I was recording on my board. I just wasn't recording on the screen.
Fair. I mean, the people need to know how we feel about these things, like Die Hard and Christmas movies.
They do. Well,
they're not getting it now.
Oh, they can get the audio version. They just won't see it on camera. When these dads meet world, watching Boy Meets World. We grew up on the show, now we have kids and host a podcast. We watch each episode and then share our thoughts and grades. When these dads meet world.
They want you to take the roles.
And they do. They want you to take the roles. And welcome back, good people out there, good-looking people. I am one of your hosts, Tyler.
And I am your other host, Brett. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Boy Meets World. We are in the show. We are past Christmas now, past Valentine's Day, and I think we're just now in the middle of March. Apparently, can't really tell. They're wearing jackets and coats, but there's no snow on the ground. So apparently, the winter is over. It was a short period. But yeah, this is Dads Meet World. We're a weekly podcast that goes deep into the show of scene by scene, moment by moment, and getting into the real nitty-gritty of the show from two dads' perspective. So, that's Brett, right. How's it going, and how are the holidays treating you so far?
It's going all right. Better today than the beginning of the week. I had to do some repair work on my car. We have emissions testing here in my county. In the county next door doesn't. I actually commute to the county next door. And I had to replace one part on my car that has absolutely nothing to do with any emission system, but because it tripped a fault warning and an engine code, it had to be replaced before I could pass emissions testing and then get my car's registration renewed. And what should have been a 1-hour job took about 3 hours. But got it done, got it passed, got the registration done. Well, I went in to get the registration renewed, and on that day, the entire state of Ohio's network in the BMV was down, so I couldn't even get it renewed on the day it was due. But got that all done, and tonight we started watching Christmas movies together. Watched Charlie Brown Christmas with the family, and watched Spirited with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds from last year. First time watching that one with the kids, and as it was ending, Asher said it was the best Christmas movie he's ever seen, and Abby and Toby, big, huge fans because A, it's Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds, and B, it's a musical, so.
Fair.
Yeah.
They do both their musicals.
They do. How's Christmas and all the other fun things going for the Volk clan?
Oh, so much fun's happening here. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I have a slight mucusy, coldish kind of situation. It hasn't fully decided what it wants to be yet. So all of us are dealing with that. Some of us have it a little worse than others. Sorry. So that's happening. But yesterday, we were just sitting around, and wife's on call this weekend as of recording, so she was gonna have it for a little bit. The boys were both wired for hours, and they both kind of took naps, and just their sleep schedule was all going to be off. So we were like, you know what, let's watch a movie, and we have a Walmart pickup later on, so it's a weird night. Let's just watch a movie. We'll go to the Walmart pickup after that, blah, blah, blah. So we chose to watch, we watched Christmas Vacation, and I'm like the last person you want to watch this movie with, because this movie is so ingrained in me. I'm like, beating every single line by at least 5 seconds. And it was to a point because I would say the line, I giggle to myself, and then I'd say the next line. And my wife, within a few minutes, just went, "Are you going to do this the whole movie?" I'm like, I can't help myself. I just know it so well. But it's mostly just like an entertaining me thing, you know? Like, I'm becoming that dad of, like, I think it's funny, so that's why I do it. But I did stop. I was like, okay, I will stop. I will distract myself a little bit. But, you know, I can't watch that movie alone. I have to be doing something else while that's on. Otherwise, I'll just be saying all the lines before it comes out. This is a great time for me to tell you that we decided to get shirts for our son for what's that day? Christmas Eve, because we get together as a family Christmas Eve, and so we have for our son, it says, "And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?" And my nephew has a shirt that says,
"I don't know, Margot."
Yeah, I don't know, Margot. Yes. So yeah, I'm so excited for that to come out. I'm giddy about
Very
it.
nice.
Because that is literally a line that our family has said to each other for years. Like, around Christmas time, that is our way of saying I love you. It's just looking at each other and be like, "Hey, why is the carpet all wet, Todd?" So it's me going, "I don't know, Margot." It's like, I love this family.
Very nice.
But yes. Brett, should we get into this episode?
I think we should. Let's look at episode 317, the 17th episode of season 3. Good looking people. We are racing towards the end of season 3. The Pink Flamingo Kid. Yeah, I know. While filming a video for Shawn, Cory catches some criminals red-handed and wants to enter a TV news contest, but Shawn objects and destroys the tape. Meanwhile, a money-hungry Eric attempts to find valuable objects amongst his parents' quote-unquote old junk. This episode was written by Mark Blutman and Howard Busgang, two very familiar names for all you good-looking people. They've written some really fun ones. Directed by Jeff McCracken, originally aired February 16th, 1996, and currently enjoys an 8.2 IMDb rating. Now, good looking people, we've had some fun with the board here today. So we're going to see if the Vast Emotional Damage theme song's going to work. Because it's everyone's favorite game show.
Vast Emotional Damage.
It worked. Vast Emotional Damage, everyone's favorite game show, where we try to trip Tyler up and see if he can guess how many million people tuned in for this episode. Now, Tyler, last week for Stormy Weather, we had 16.4 million viewers. Now, this week for the Pink Flamingo Kid, how many million viewers do you think we had?
All right. You know, I'm going to go 16 again, just because I want to say it dropped, but I don't want to say it dropped too much, because this was already a big drop. So let's go with 16 again.
You going with 16?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 16. You would win the showcase, 17.1 million. Bounce back up a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, so we bounced back up to 17.1 million. So, Tyler, take it away.
So the episode starts off with a camera being pointed at a door and someone knocking. It's Cory, and Mr. Turner opens the door. And he says, "Why do you have a camera on me?" And he goes, "Because a good cameraman always got to be ready. You don't mind me shooting you, right?" "No, not at all." Shuts the door in his face. Knocks again. "Turn the camera off. I'll let you in." This has to be like Turner getting to a breaking point with Cory and Shawn literally always being in his space, being in his life. So much of their relationship revolving in his space. Like, I feel like for Turner, he didn't realize that agreeing to take Shawn in means taking Shawn in, and Cory being attached to that as well. Shawn always being there, and just so much life happening there.
Yeah, I mean, you take in Shawn, you get his best friend, you get whoever he's dating at the time. I mean, that right there is just so many other people in his apartment that he wasn't expecting. So
Yeah.
like you said, there's so much life going on.
Yeah.
I love how he answers. What are you hiding? My disdain for you.
Well,
It's no wonder he disappears to the other side of the school for a few months.
Well, these are like his special students from last year that he was trying to get turned around, and now they're literally always around him. So yeah, you got to think that as a young guy who has an apartment, this has to be like so frustrating for him. Of like, knock knock, gosh, it's Cory again.
And this time he's got a camera.
Yeah,
What
he's got
now?
a camera this time. But yeah, Cory's able to walk in finally, and apparently Shawn is on the phone with his dad. His dad is apparently going to go to the dog tracks with President Clinton, who was president at the time. And we know that Chet's kind of for lack of better wording, kind of a con artist, and he is a little bit of a shyster, and his schemes are a little more deviant than, say, Shawn and Cory's are. But to just straight up lie to your kid on a regular basis so much that the kid just, instead of calling it out, he's just like, yeah, sure, that's what you're doing. Yep, I hear you. Like, there's just a sadness to this relationship that is hard to talk about, I think. Like, there's love, but there's no trust.
Yeah, I mean, everything that Shawn tells his dad is coming from a place of truth, and everything he's hearing from his dad is, he's got to filter it. Is this a lie? Is this maybe something that's true? You know, he's got to run everything through a filter before he can process it.
Yep, but Shawn's got to hang up a little quicker than what he wanted to, and he's a little sad about that. But they have an idea. What if they record Shawn and the rest of his family giving a message to him and sending it to him? Because I bet he's missing home and would love to hear from and see some of the family. Because apparently, as Shawn says, family is important to the hunters.
Yes.
Which is the first we're hearing about this.
Exactly. I mean, we've got the sister that we've never heard from again, and we've talked about her canonically in our heads before. We've got Verna, who ran away, and that's why Chet's gone. And we've met Uncle Mike before, and you know we've heard tangentially about some of these other hunters before, but we've never really seen anything to show that they have any strong family bond.
Yeah. Well, apparently, when there's with family, there's always a place to hide.
Where there's family, there's a place to hide.
So yeah, apparently in this year also, this is the time for the show to say, hey, Cory's gotten really good with the camera, and he's so good that no one ever really notices that he's taking out the equipment again.
It's a little frustrating because between last year and this year, they actually put some effort into showing Cory developing some skills as a reporter. And showing some chops in journalism, and after this year they'll just disappear. That type of a story thread we won't ever really revisit it.
Yeah,
it's just something that he was into for a bit and then gone.
I mean, it's literally something that comes up for a few episodes or an episode and then goes away, comes back, it goes away. Yeah, Cory's motivations and what he wants to do with his life seems to come and go based on what episode and who's writing the episode.
Which is normal. for TV in the 90s, and to an extent,
it's almost
normal for teenagers.
Yeah, that's true. I will say, it is almost like the jokes come first, Brett. But yeah, we go to the school, and apparently Cory has signed out more equipment, and he's all ready to go. And apparently, Mr. Williams notices that he signed out all this equipment, thinking that Cory wants to enter himself into a junior reporter, high school reporter contest. You know, one of those TV things that come out of nowhere that doesn't make a whole lick of sense, but sure. I mean, these guys already documented that they caught the high school janitors stealing from the school. That wasn't a good enough report to go to the 5 o'clock news, but whatever.
Yeah, can't turn that one in. It already happened. They already took care of that. It's not fresh enough.
Yeah, but I mean, Mr. Williams, or Eli, as we prefer to call him, is trying to tell Cory that...
Mr.
He's trying to communicate of, hey, you potentially have a future in this, so, you know, do the best you can. Mm-hmm. Very much indifferent of what he was saying to Eric of, you don't have a future in any of this, just get the information into me.
Yep.
Oh, yes, we run into Eric now. Eric is behind Feeney, hauling some junk for him. And apparently,
I was very
Eric
curious
can't
why
move that
Eric
fast.
was hauling stuff around. It was the pack mule on this one.
Because he needed something to do. But apparently, Brett, he can't move that fast because he's not wearing underwear.
I'm not dawdling. I'm just not wearing any underwear.
Now, Brett, when you don't wear underwear, do you notice that you also drag a little bit too?
Oh, let's see. When was the last time I even went commando? I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I was going to tell you this off mic, but now I'm thinking of it, so I might as well tell you this. Literally, we're sitting on the couch. I'm trying to convince Henry to, like, go to bed. And this is while Grayson was still awake. And Sarah, like, was pushing away a tray / little overhanging stand that we have. And she kicked it a little too hard, and it wobbled, and the cup of water that was on there instantly fell, and it all came in the direction of me. So it landed all on my crotch and everything, and then the other couch cushion. And I just kind of pick up Henry, and I just hand him over. I'm like, take him, and it's everything of me is soaked. But it didn't get the baby, and it didn't hit the other boy. It just hit the one couch, and then the other cushion that I'm on had a teeny little bit of water.
So what you're telling me is you're recording in no underwear.
No, I'm fresh as a daisy now. It's like I got a little bath right before we recorded.
Good for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I got up and I was like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad in general.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just frustrated.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know I'm mad. There's no way around it. But I can't. I'm not directly mad at you. Similar, Brett, to when someone makes fun of Fanny Feeney.
Fanny Feeney? Don't go there.
Yes, great aunt Feeney. Fanny Feeney. Great aunt Fanny Feeney. Apparently was, once upon a time, his aunt who passed away.
A bit of a collector.
But, yes, but apparently he's going to take his items to Lankershman and Sloan's. And Eric says, the roofers? He says, no, the appraisal house. Which, we'll talk about that later, Brett.
All right. I look forward to it.
Yes, but this is where he gets the concept of you take your junk or the things that your relatives pass on to you that you don't know what the values are. and you have someone appraise it. Sometimes people get lucky, and they will find things that are like pure gold that, was made 80 years ago and is worth money now. But there's also, especially throughout the course of time that we know, a lot of things are more gold or silver plated and not really pure. So those fun things you learn along the way.
Oh, yes.
So yeah. But we go to the trailer park. We haven't been here in quite some time. And Shawn's excited. This is his old grounds, and, his people are here still.
Yeah. Is this actually the first time we've been inside the trailer park?
Huh. That's a great question.
I think this is actually the first time we've been inside the trailer park.
I think you might be right. Because we don't see the inside of their trailer until season 4. And this is the first time we're actually in the trailer park whatsoever.
Yeah, so that's a first for us.
Fascinating. Yeah. Good call. Yeah. He says we're gonna go see Uncle Mike first, and he'll get the rest of the family. And they knock on the door. Oh gosh, where is it?
Uncle Mike's the easiest and warmest and friendliest.
Oh yes. Knocks on the door. Uncle Mike, open up. There is no Uncle Mike. I'm an old shut-in living on my pension. Go away. It's me, your nephew, Shawn. Shawnee! Yeah, and he's quite concerned. What's with the camera? It's like, remember I called you and said we're going to record something? Oh, yeah. And then he calls for all the other hunters to come out, and they all say, we didn't do it.
Do anything. We didn't do it. The hunter motto. And this is Uncle Mike. It's Herschel Sparber again. We saw him last time as he was in the motorcycle shop in By Hook or By Crook. This is the last time we're going to see Uncle Mike.
You know what? Uncle Mike got robbed. He should have been on this show more.
He should have showed up more. We should be able to see him once or twice this season. But, this is the last of 3 times we'll see him here.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, after this season, we do regularly get Chet more. And so I do like that, because Chet becomes more of a real character and not just the father who abandoned Shawn. So with the lack of Uncle Mike, we do get Chet. So I don't mind that.
I don't mind the trade-off.
But yeah, so they start to shoot some footage, and apparently Shawn's super happy because the hunters are really opening up, and Cory's not so pleased because he's like, no one's really saying anything, including apparently Chet's mother, who doesn't actually say anything because of the gag order and medication. And with her attorney standing right beside her, he says, excuse me, to my alleged son, Chet, happy birthday.
These loving words are in no way an admission of guilt in the trial of the people v. Gertie Hunter.
Yeah. Any woman who can give birth to me is a tough broad. I will say, again, tiny lady, giant children.
Wonder if there's any Stakino intermix in that hunter line back in the years. Different branches on the same family tree.
Yeah, very fair. So apparently they need to find a way to get the hunters on record. And so you see them do a mass.
I have
yes,
solution.
Do it! I've been waiting.
Action!
Happy birthday, Chet! For all hunters, here at this undisclosed location.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera off, all right? I'm not going for my pockets.
Uncle Mike, Dad's really gonna get a kick out of this.
Yeah, it was nice to have the family together.
Yeah, I'll be sure to send you a copy.
Why would you make copies?
You're a tall, tall man.
Thanks. You know, Shawnee, you got a good friend here.
Uncle Mike.
Hey, it fell out.
That's just okay. Let's just be real. It's just terrific. You don't know who's in there, but all you know is that it's people wishing him happy birthday, and Shawn just knows it's going to make his dad so happy to see, or potentially see, all of his loved ones wishing him a happy birthday, even if the rest of the people can't see and tell.
That's right.
Yeah, the hunters are just an odd folk. That's what I'm seeing.
They are.
But, Brett, after the whole Uncle Mike decides to try to steal Cory's wallet, and Shawn immediately catches him trying to do it, we run into somebody else.
We do. We run into a couple of tough dudes, and we'll find out. We'll find out one's name pretty quickly. Eddie is played by Maury Sterling. This is the first and only time he'll show up on Boy Meets World. He has 108 credits on his resume. Showed up in shows like Picket Fences, The Pretender, Jag, Judging Amy, Star Trek Enterprise, Monk, ER, Criminal Minds, 24, CSI, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Veronica Mars, Batman Hush, and more. Yeah, he was the voice of Tommy Elliott in Batman Hush.
I've not watched that
best
one.
Friend. Oh, you should. Pretty decent adaptation of the source material.
Oh, golly.
And then the little guy that's with them is...
Ooh. No, let me do this one. I'm ready.
Okay.
Don't even go there.
Right.
Hold on, let me pull them up. But I will tell you that we're watching it, and Sarah goes, "Oh, hey, that's the kid from that show." And I go, "No, it's not." She goes, "Yes, it is." I'm like, "No, he's not." And of course, I look it up, and I, holy cow, it is him. And I feel like years ago I said, "That's definitely him," but for whatever reason today, didn't realize it. But the tough little kid is Blake Foster. Mm-hmm. Most famous for playing Justin Stewart from Power Rangers. He's also in Kids World and mostly just Power Rangers.
Pretty much, yeah. A lot of the stuff on his resume was either Power Rangers adjacent, like short films, or stuff that's just like, has anyone really ever seen that?
Walker, Texas Ranger, Two of a Kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Brady Bunch in the
White House. Yeah, so those that don't know, Justin first appeared in the Turbo movie. He is the first child to be a Power Ranger. Now, this divided the Power Ranger fandom for probably still years at this point. Like, I remember when I was watching as a kid being like, cool, there's a kid, awesome. There's other people say, older people that are like the quote-unquote original Power Ranger fans. I was like, garbage. Who wants this? Now, I do consider myself a Power Rangers original because I was born in the 90s and all, but there are those that watched it when it first premiered, and those people would say, gosh, what is this? A kid? No. We just want Tommy and Jason, and that's it. Anyone else is garbage.
Well, you see, they're supposed to be teens with attitude, not preteens with attitude.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Well, and technically the Turbo Rangers are supposed to be graduating from high school, but they go back eventually to other people being Power Rangers. So that's the other thing, too, is the TV show Power Rangers Turbo also made a big adjustment to new Power Rangers stepping in. So you have a total of 5 new Power Rangers in the span of like 20 episodes from the originals. So, well, actually, the original team that was from Zeo into Turbo. Let's just back up for a moment. There was Mighty Morphin, and then there was Zeo, and then there was Turbo. But Brett, I'm going to finish this conclusion, because the last time we see Justin in Power Rangers is not in Turbo, it's in space. Because the 6th season, and what was supposed to be the end of the show, takes place, and he comes back for one last episode. And this is an episode where there's 2 Blue Rangers, 2 of them, Brett. And it was quite good, quite great, and it ends his storyline. And you know what, Brett? There needs to be more talk about Power Rangers. I'm just saying it. More people need to talk about it.
This Power Rangers digression brought to you by hashtag not a sponsor, Saban and Shuki Levy.
And Hasbro. Let's just say that, because they're the ones that own the rights to Power Rangers.
They are the ones that have the rights now.
I'm not a fan. Leave me alone.
So where were we? Oh, yeah.
Yes, so Eddie pops in with his
Eddie and
cronies, and Cory makes some bad choice words, and basically, like, the little kid is ready to beat him up.
I could take you.
And, continuing that line of, I can take you. Eddie's kind of trying to say, hey, you should probably get lost, and you don't belong here anymore. We live here, not you.
Built in.
And take Corky Dorky with you. Hey, what's the fastest way out of here?
I don't know why, but that built-in insult, it fits, and it cuts just right. For some reason, they found that one and it fits.
Yeah, it really does. I like we transition to Eric, because he has now fully embraced this looking for treasures in junk. Like, he is going to go through the whole house looking for everything. And it even comes to a point where he says, so I say to myself, Kyle,
Now,
you
I do
should
have
go to the under the. Sorry, you should go get this bandwagon. Under this bandwagon.
I do have this.
Make some
clip,
money by
this
cleaning
segment.
out your room yourself.
I do have this clipped.
Junk? You call these gambling dogs junk?
Alan, take the sharp things out of that box.
All right, obviously you guys are gonna figure this one out by yourselves.
Obviously.
See, Mr. Feeney had goobles of old junk lying around his house. Well, he found out some of it could be worth a ton of money. So I said to myself, Kyle?
Kyle?
That's what I call myself. So I said, Kyle, you should get under this bandwagon and make some money by cleaning out that room of yours.
Eric, Mr. Feeney's collectibles are from all over the world.
Whoa, Annie, whoa. I think Eric might be onto something here. The garage and the attic, it might be chock full of undiscovered treasures. Why don't you clean them out, see what you can find?
Wait a minute, clean out the garage and the attic? You guys would let me?
Whatever makes you and Kyle happy.
I will say, I love that. Whatever makes you and Kyle happy.
Yep.
Like, they just... Alan and Amy are not perfect parents, but they just kind of... Okay. Like, this isn't going to hurt yourself, and you're going to do a good thing for us, so if it makes you happy to go do that, go for it.
Yep.
Last week they might not agree with all of his decisions, but this week I think they're agreeing with him.
Yeah, this week, they're giving him some room to run with his idea. And getting the attic and the garage cleaned out at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, can we talk for a moment about how come TV shows always have giant basements and giant attics they can hide all their crap in?
Yeah.
Like, again, we've been watching Full House, and I know I keep complaining about it here and there and texting you random stuff, but seriously, where are they fitting all that house inside the house?
Yeah, that's a lot of house to be fitting inside of that shell that we see from the exterior.
Yeah, it is.
You have to be that fourth wall has to be flat all the way through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I get it. TV magic. I get TV magic. The jokes come first. But it's like you walk into a room and all of a sudden it's like, wow, we didn't realize all this space was here. Really? We didn't realize all this space was here. It only takes a week or two to get a room completely redone and remodeled. Bullcrap.
Well, that's the magic of TV.
It is.
I call
it's
it
like
goop
one
ball.
episode. Yeah, it's one episode. They're like, we're taking measurements because we're gonna redo the house and this one room, and then it's the next episode, and it's all done.
They're just finishing painting, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, oh yeah, so they're at Turner's house and their apartment, and they're watching the footage, and Cory notices something. Apparently, he got a clip of Eddie maybe not holding something he's supposed to be holding.
Yeah, he thinks he's a little bit nerdy at first because he's got a computer.
Yeah. But then, of course, that becomes
Maybe
real
it's
clear to
not
both of them that,
his.
yeah, it's not his. And so Cory is like, great, this is my opportunity. I can turn this in, and you also get your tape for your dad.
Yeah,
And Shawn's like,
win-win for
no.
everyone.
Yeah, Cory's like, great, this is a win-win for everyone. He goes, no. And Cory's confused, like, what do you mean no? And he goes, no. He goes, well, this is my tape, so I can do whatever I want with it. He goes, okay, this is your tape. Pulls it out, decides to destroy it. Now, good-looking people. You can't just replace this. That thing is donezo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that with old film, you can cut and tape things back together, but there's only so much you can do. When something is ripped, you're not getting that back.
Yep.
So, Shawn destroys it, doesn't explain to Cory. The two of them are kind of in a verbal disagreement, and they decide to walk away from each other. Turn up to school the next day. Cory's saying, hey, Williams, enter me in that contest. And Cory and Shawn, they have a bit of a disagreement over everything.
They do, and I do have a bit of this clipped as well.
Why did you rip off my tape?
It just happened, okay?
Shawn, I caught those guys on tape, stealing computers, all right? I could have won an award or something.
Maybe I was doing you a favor.
No. You know what I think, Shawn? I think it bothers you that I finally found something I'm good at.
I think you should shut up and let go of me right now.
Shawn, why are you acting like I did something?
I said let go of me.
Fine. All right, let's see what you got, Hummer.
No, Cory, you don't want to do this.
Yeah, I do.
Break it up! Get back to class now!
Hunter Matthews?
Did you guys know you were fighting each other?
I'm out of here.
No, I don't think so, Shawn. Not until somebody tells me why you guys were going at it.
What do you want me to say? I'm good with a camera, and this guy's jealous.
Yeah, you know when I'll be jealous of you, Cory? When you can do this.
Hey, watch it.
Okay, so literally, after we watch this scene, my wife goes, that's one of my favorite lines in the whole series. Hunter Matthews, do you know you're fighting each other?
You're fighting each other. It's a great one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I will say, even though Turner and Shawn live together, if he doesn't communicate what's going on between the two of them, he doesn't have an idea of that there's even a disagreement between them. So I feel like Turner is really surprised, and I mean, so is Williams for sure, but like Turner's like, what happened? Like, something is wrong. And yeah, I will say the way that these teachers handle this whole thing, I do think works really well. if that makes sense.
Yeah, they don't go straight into disciplinarian mode and start handing out the detention or anything. They want to get to the base of everything. They want to get to the bottom of it. No one's going anywhere until we figure out what's going on. You know, what is causing you two to come to blows here.
Yes. Apparently they don't want to talk, though, but luckily for them, there's a brand new program in town. It's called Hooked on
Let's
Feeney.
not call it detention. I prefer Hooked on Feeney.
Yes, I do love that so much. And as a Hooked on Phonics kid, I appreciate it.
I do love that program, Hooked on Feeney. Yes.
Yes, and I like how they're leaving detention, and Cory's like, "Ah, yes, another wonderful afternoon with you. I'd really hate for us to do this again." He goes, "Well, your reservations are scheduled for tomorrow as well."
Yep.
But I like how they try to Shawn tries to talk to Cory, and Cory's not really interested, and Shawn is left to just sit there in his frustration and his sadness, and he hits the locker. And Mr. Feeney walks out. And did you have any of this clipped?
I don't. I wanted to, but it was just
Nope.
it ran too long, and I couldn't clip part of it and leave the rest.
Yeah. So Mr. Feeney just says, "Why'd you do that? Why'd you hit the locker?" He goes, "Well, I'm frustrated." "Well, does that help?" "Well, yeah." And so Mr. Feeney hits the locker as well. And he says, immediately, "Ow." Because adults, we know when we're not actually physically frustrated, it hurts us immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, in my 30s, I've learned that if I hit something in a certain way now, it ruins my whole hand and my arm, and I'm like, it's not worth it anymore. This used to be fine. Gosh, my body can't handle that anymore.
Yep.
So yeah, Shawn's confused, like, why are you frustrated? And he goes, "Well, I'm seeing two young men throw away a friendship." And he goes, "Well, I don't really want a friend like that." And Mr. Feeney counters with, "Well, who do you really count on?" Shawn's like, "Family. You can always count on family." And, Feeney tries to kind of point out to him of like, really? He doesn't say exactly these words, but he basically says to him, like, throughout this whole year, who has actually been there for you? Has your family been there for you? No. It's been, Corky McGee over there. Like, the person that has been most close to you, the person that's always been there for you, is Cory. So why would you give up that friendship? And he makes clear that, he really doesn't have that many close family members. What he does have are close friends. And this may be the first time we're getting a peek at that he has some people that are friends to him that are closer than his actual relatives. And those are the people that he considers to be a friend now. Which makes you call on the question all the way back in the pilot when he says his sister can't meet him for dinner. Is that actually his sister who cancels on him? Or is it a friend? Or if it was his sister who is close by, but they don't really interact with each other, and George has kind of given up on that friendship or in that relationship. And so he's realized he can only really rely on the friends he has. But I mean, it does play into a factor of, is it your family by blood that is your family, or is it the family you create your family? Mm-hmm. I tend to think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of found family has become, I mean, it's always been around, but it's become very popular lately. That especially when your own family is less than ideal, to be able to find a family that will take you in and to create a family.
Yeah.
And so but Shawn's family really, if we go back 2 episodes, Turner points out, your best relationship is right over there with Cory.
Mm-hmm.
With Corky Dorky. And I mean, this is, with as deep a friendship as they have, and it's natural, but he needs to be reminded at times that this is his best bond that he has.
Yeah.
And the one that he needs to lean on the most.
Yeah. Well, if Shawn had just said, look, Eddie's my brother, and no matter how close I am or am not to him, I don't feel right you turning this in. And you know what Cory would have done? Okay, I won't do that because you asked me not to. And that's all it really needed to be. Now, I get, because they're in high school, those type of conversations can be difficult, especially if Shawn's never said, yes, I have a half-brother. Because it feels like this is out of left field for him to have a brother. It's going to be even more crazy in a couple seasons. But, and I'll say this too, Brett, and I think you'll agree with this. But for the good-looking people out there, if you have found that there are family members that won't accept you for whether it's a choice you make or something you can't control about who you are and who your identity is, there are people that will love you and will form a family around you if you're willing to open up and to be surrounded in love. Unfortunately, there are people who just cannot help but judge and have been raised a certain way to only think one way. But there are people out there that won't think that one way only. And find those people. Because there's a lot more people probably out there that are more like you than are not like you, if that makes sense. So don't give up looking for your people, your community, just because the people that should love you unconditionally don't accept who you are. Yeah, that's all. So yeah, we go back to the wacky storyline, Brett, and what do you stop trying to take me over that way. So yeah, Eric is gonna take his junk over to the appraisers, and
it's not junk.
Alan's,
treasures, I say.
This is the part we were talking about, to Sarah and I, of like, is this the part that he really twitches out and starts to become the version that we know and love next season? Like, is this really where it happens? Like, does
there
he
might have
just
been some asbestos up in that attic?
Yeah, well, it's like, did he have like a quarter life crisis last episode, and now he's trying to recover some of that? And yeah, maybe some asbestos was up there. Because this is really a part of, like, he kind of goes crazy this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Alan's like, listen, I'll help you carry stuff out to the trash. Like, don't worry about it, and I'll give you $10. I don't need your $10. Like, this is treasure, I tell you. But before he walks away, he buys a flamingo from Shawn for $30. And Shawn, knowing that those suckers are only maybe $5 total, says, yeah, sure. Yeah. So, anywho. Where are we at? Yeah, so we go... Oh, I'm sorry. That was earlier in the episode. That did not just happen right now. I got those confused. But anywho, so Cory goes back to the trailer park, and he's going to get footage of what's going on. But Cory forgets the very important rule about doing investigative journalism, and that is don't get caught.
Yes.
And so Cory is getting a good shot. He's a little far enough away.
I gotta get closer.
And he says, I gotta get closer. Forgetting he has zoom on his camera.
Yeah.
And so Cory gets closer, and he gets too close. And Eddie's ready to start beating him up and killing him. And unlike Harley Kiner starts putting his hands on him.
Eddie actually throws hands. And yeah.
Right, which is why, to that point, I always think Harley was all talk. Eddie, however, is not all talk. In fact, he talks not enough.
Mm-hmm. Eddie talks with his fists.
Yeah. So he starts throwing him around. It's just funny because the little kid's like, all right, I think he's had enough. Yeah, listen to the little guy. Who you calling little?
Yeah.
But Shawn appears. Now, he doesn't just walk up. He jumps off of a trailer and makes like a hero pose and hero stop
landing.
in. Oh, hero landing. That's what I'm looking for. And yeah. And he goes, what are you going to do? You going to fight me, Shawn? Like, no. I'm going to call the cops. Which, when you think about it, Brett, that kind of means that Eddie is right and that Shawn really doesn't belong there as much anymore.
Yeah. But he points it out, though. Well, when he talks about turning him in, like, you're so much better than me. I'm on my way to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, whether it's at that point or not, Shawn knows he's on, whether it's just leaving the trailer park or it's leaving that part of his life, he knows he's on his way out. And that he's got, one foot in this world, one foot in another world, that he's kind of a man of two worlds, and he's kind of living in a tension. And he needs to basically figure out which world he's going to put both feet in. And we'll be living in that tension for quite a while.
Yeah. I agree. Well, and that's the other thing of, like, who is his brother in this situation? Is it someone who is half his blood, or is it someone who has been there through thick and thin and has stopped him in some of his worst moments and tried to help him to see the light and also to be a guiding force for him at times? But someone that has full and complete trust in him, regardless of his background.
Yep.
There's like one moment in his life that Cory judges him, and then he doesn't judge him for that ever again. So, it's a friendship that's messed up a whole generation, that's for sure. But yeah, Cory and Shawn make up, and we get to the close, Brett. And apparently, Alan and Amy are willing to suck up their pride and to pay Eric for his efforts. And he goes, how about $60 for all your effort? And he goes, oh yeah, sure. And they're like, oh gosh, we don't have any change. He goes, oh, it's all right. Well, shoot, all I have is hundreds. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. Apparently there was an item in some of that stuff you guys had in the garage, and the guy wanted $4,000 for it. Yeah, it's a kabuki mask. And Eric says, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire.
Mr. Feeney just kind of waves him off.
Gosh,
you are.
Feeney walks in. It's just such a buzzkill. Oh yeah, remember that box you had in your garage for me? I think there was a mask in there. I really want to see what the value of it is. And Eric just hands over all the money. And Feeney just goes, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire.
I watched Eric through this I've watched this like 3 times. When I watched Eric through this the last couple times, and just to watch him as his face as he realizes exactly what's happened, the whole body posture changes, and that one last effort. How's $500 set?
Yeah.
Oh,
but I will say, if you got a old kabuki realistic mask, I feel like you shouldn't keep that in your neighbor's garage.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. You should probably
unless
keep that in
Feeney
your
has
own house
so
on
many
display.
collected items. Yeah, unless he has so many items he cannot keep track of them that they should all be in a museum. That's the only way I see that being a possibility, but
Yeah.
who is to say?
But it is Feeney. Who knows?
Yeah. But with that, Brett, that is an episode.
That is. So let's hear some of your deep dives.
People, 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 people. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
All right. Since we already talked about the character and mentioned Justin from Turbo, let's go ahead and talk about the Turbo movie. The second and final original Power Ranger movies that came out. Because, good-looking people, just so you know, there's been 3 total. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, Turbo Power Rangers movie, and then just the Power Rangers that came out in 2017. Only 2 of those are connected to each other. Well, no, technically, none of them are connected to each other because the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers happens on a whole different other universe. It's not connected to the original timeline. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. So, anywho,
You can watch any of those movies without needing to watch any of the other ones.
That's true. Honestly, you don't even need to watch the series before this. You can just start right into the Turbo movie. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for the specific date, and I'm not seeing it right now. The Turbo movie came out in 1997. It was released before the Turbo TV show came out. It was an attempt to kind of revitalize the genre a little bit after they had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers come out in 1995. Budget was about $8 million, and it made back about $9.6 million, so a little over budget. Opening weekend was March 30th, by the way. Runtime of 1 hour and 39 minutes. I gotta say, as a quick aside, not as good quality-wise as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or the Power Rangers that came out later on. But one of the things I loved about this movie is when they go to the Zord mode, they show this cool thing. I think the cinematography and director did was they showed as the Zord moved and big like this, like it shows the Power Rangers like kind of moving with them. And as an adult, you're like, gosh, your backs must be all sorts of jacked up with the amount of, moving as they're doing and grooving and everything. But I'm like, that makes sense that their cockpit would be kind of stationary unless inside it's kind of like almost has a sphere that kind of moves to keep them parallel. But it's just kind of a cool thing they did. If you're not a Power Rangers fan, it's not really worth it to get to that. But, there's YouTube clips you could watch. Just the Megazord fight. I do recommend it. It's a pretty good fight. Getting off of the Power Rangers.
Yes.
So, Brett, you may be wondering.
The Power Ranger episode.
So there's some legal jargon that came up. So let's talk about some of those legal jargon, shall we? Gag order, or a gagging order, or suppression order, is an order, typically a legal order by a court or government restricting information or comment from being made public or passed out of any unauthorized third party. The phrase may sometimes be used of a private order by an employer or other institutions. Uses of gag orders include keeping trade secrets of company or protecting integrity of ongoing police or military operations and protecting the privacy of victims or minors. Conversely, as their downside, they may be abused as a useful tool for those of financial means to intimidate witnesses and prevent release of information using the legal system rather than other methods of intimidation. Sometimes this goes along with slap lawsuits, which is just a way for someone to use their money to keep someone in legal trouble, even though it's not really founded. And there's things that some politicians are doing to get rid of those, but some politicians are fine with it, and we're not going to go into deeper than that. So, another word that popped up was alleged, or allegedly, is also. It's used to convey that sometimes there's a claim, case, or something has been taken, and there is no proof. He was allegedly leading participant in the coup attempt. Oh, nice example. Basically, it's a statement that, well, someone says this person did, but it's not proved that that's what happened. Like, someone went somewhere they weren't supposed to go. Well, allegedly they went there, but until someone proves they went there, it's not really founded. And again, not going deeper than that, we're just going to stick with hypotheticals. So let's talk about the roofing company, Brett, because there was no I can't remember what the actual thing was, but it was something Sloan.
Lancashire and Sloan, I believe.
Yes, that's it. So there is no Lancashire and Sloan in Philadelphia. However, there is a Sloan roofing company in California, in the Ventura County community. Apparently, they've been in service for over 30 years, and the owner of the company, Alan Sloan, has had 20 years himself of licensed contractor work, and they work primarily with HOAs. To providing roof services in the best possible way in the Ventura area. So potentially, when they make the joke of the roofing people, could have easily been a California joke thrown in there because, haha, who cares about Philadelphia? Sometimes I take it a little personally about California jokes being slid into my Pennsylvania-based TV show.
Sometimes.
An appraiser, Brett. An appraiser is someone, is a person who, is a person that develops an opinion of a market value of, or other value of a production, most notably real estate. The current definition of appraiser, according to Uniform Standard of Professional Appraisal Practice, or the USPAP, is one who is expected to perform valuation service competently and in a manner that is independent and impartial and objective. So what that means is that someone as appraiser is supposed to be someone who can look at an item or real estate or something that is of owning a value and go, this is how much it's worth. They can say, like, when you go to buy a home, they can go through the house, go by room, size by size of the house, your yard, all those things, and go based on measurements, based on schematics, based on the other houses that have been sold in the area. This is the value of the house, and then that can help determine if it's worth giving a loan out to buying the house or not. Likewise, if you are selling old antiques, an appraiser can come by and go, based on our knowledge of antiques and the things that are around, this is what we can say is the value of these antiques. Unfortunately, most often grandparents tend to have knickknacks around and not really very valuable things like kabuki masks and those type of things. But hey, it wouldn't surprise me that a Feeney, especially Fanny Feeney, would have some very valuable things lying around.
If your name is Fanny, you probably have some pretty expensive stuff lying around.
I hope so. We'll have to look up at some point when Fanny became term for butt, because you got to imagine that when that first became a name that wasn't referred to that. So, Hooked on Phonics, or Hooked on Feeny, as my preference is now. Hooked on Phonics was started in 1987 as a commercial brand of an education material originally designed for reading education through phonics. As a system used systematic phonic and scaffolded stories to teach letter sounds correlation phonics as part of children's literacy. This program has since expanded to encompass a wide variety of media, including books, computer games, music, videos, and flashcards, in addition to books and materials, as well as to include other subject areas. Target audience for this brand is primarily individuals and homeschool children or parents. The product was advertised exclusively on television and radio throughout the 90s. I will say my experience was from the 90s when they started using games. They had like the flashcard games, and we had that in our classroom, and that was so helpful and making connections. And because a lot of times for me, when I read, even as an adult still, I tend to, like, my brain is trying to get me to go fast, or my eyes are trying to get me to go faster than what my brain can process through when I'm reading. And so what's helpful, and what was helpful with the flashcards, is just this is the word, this is the thing we're focused on, let's focus on getting this, and then it's getting the rest of them as you go along. So like when I read alone in my head, I have no problem. When I read out loud, that's when my problem hits, because for whatever reason, the understanding of from there to here doesn't always process as quickly as I need it to. And then also it all gets jumbled up. And that's why a lot of times you'll hear me go, well, no, that doesn't. Okay, here's how we go. So even as I'm reading about Hooked on Phonics, there were things that were jumbling around, and the way I was processing it was not working. So, but that's not the Hooked on Phonics people's fault. That's my fault. I was having a little bit of a hard time on finding stuff specifically about the kabuki masks and how much they're valued, because unfortunately it's an art form that some people like to do today, and so there's a big question over how many like real old kabuki masks are there out there compared to what people make today. And some people can make some really convincing old looking ones. It's one of my problems with art is people redoing old art and, you know, it looking just as good as the stuff that was before. So I will say that I did see on like some eBay stuff of there's a couple of like 1,000 to 1,600, and I did see one that was like 5,300. So they can go for the right price, for a decent price, if it's the right person. So,
well, there you have it.
Yeah,
Mike Grisham and Sloan, they're not too far off.
No, I mean, I will also say that back then in the 90s, I don't think it was as easy to get those type of things. So it wouldn't surprise me that a Philadelphia one would see that and go, yeah, we need this. So, and also Feeney recognized that, hey, this thing could be valuable, so I should get that checked out. I was trying to find some information out there about fighting and fighting with your best friend, and I stumbled upon a research that was done in 2016, I want to say. Hard to tell for sure on the exact date. 2015, 2016, sometime like that. So there's a study done. So the objective was to identify risk factors for fighting, factors that protect against fighting, and strategies to prevent fighting amongst adolescents who fight and those uninvolved in fighting. So the methods is focus groups were conducted with middle and high school students satisfied by fighting, fighters and non-fighters status, race/ethnicity, and gender. Groups were audio taped and transcribed and analyzed using margin coding and thematics, content analysis. Themes were independently identified, and 3 coders' disagreements were resolved by consensus. So the results, the 65 participants in the 12 focus groups were 13 to 17-year-olds. Reasons for fighting included self-defense, to gain/maintain respect, or due to anger. Having goals for the future is protective. Non-fighters state that their parents condone fighting only when physically attacked and teach adolescent strategies to avoid fighting. Fighters described mixed messages from parents and pro-fighting attitudes and modeling of aggressive behavior among some family members. Non-fighters avoid fights by ignoring insults or walking away. Fighters feel unable to use nonviolent conflict resolutions methods effectively. Peers may instigate or encourage fights. Suggested prevention strategies include anger management and conflict resolution programs, relationships with caring adults and physicians, counseling youth about consequences of fighting. So all of that is a long way of saying, in my opinion, from what I'm reading and listening to, essentially all the kids that were considered like a non-fighter were encouraged to not fight, and they were constantly talked to by their parents about, hey, make sure you find other ways, make sure you talk things out, make sure you work on these things. And a lot of the kids that were prone to fights were either told, well, you probably shouldn't fight, to, well, you got to stand your ground, you got to be a man, don't let those people mess with you. You know, well, you say you want to do this, you say you want to do that, well, you're not going to stand up for yourself. And, you know, almost like a pressure for some of these kids, it sounds like, to, well, I don't have a choice but to fight, because if I don't fight here, I'm going to have to go home and fight my dad. And, you know, it comes back to, I think, Brett, of as much as we want to try to do to help teenagers in terms of teaching and being role models and helping them in other ways, it really comes down to what happens at home, you know, because the parents have the most influence over their kids, bar none, no matter what. Yep. Doesn't matter how much people want to disagree with that, no matter how much they think they spend all their time with kids, they barely spend time with me. They've had you for 13, 17 years. Trust me, they've had an influence on you, whether you want to realize it or not. And it's easy to say, hey, having programs talking about conflict resolutions, meeting with counselors, you know, being around caring adults. Yes, those things are great, and sometimes that's enough for some kids, but other kids, that's not enough. Mm-hmm. And it's recognizing that, hey, sometimes we got to work with parents and help them to do better, or realize that maybe these kids shouldn't be with these parents, and that's also understandable. Yep. That's it.
All right. Good deep dives. So let's talk about what we learned.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
What did you learn, Tyler?
Well, Brett, I learned this week that sometimes we go a little crazy. And sometimes we, you know, I think at any age we can go through a moment of just complete insanity. And just having people supporting us is so important. regardless of when you may have a panic or some sort of situation where you're just kind of feeling a little not yourself, having the right people around you to say, it's okay to be this way for right now. And that's what Alan and Amy did for their son.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's it. Did. And
What'd you learn, Brad?
I'll throw my learning weight, my token behind this idea of found family. That it's important to not forget that you have forged bonds that are important, that go deeper than just a friendship sometimes, and that a lot of times you've built a family outside of your own home that is willing to be there for you, to lean on, to be supportive. And sometimes you may need that. And so don't forget about them.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
Yes.
I'm right?
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
How would you grade the Pink Flamingo Kid, Tyler?
Well, I hate to be a broken record, but I'm thinking this is another A+ for me. Is this the most incredible A+ episode? No. Do I think Eric's storyline is a little weak? Yeah. But it serves its purpose, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to be a perfect storyline to have it be an A+ in my opinion. And what they do with Shawn is just... Shawn and Cory's relationship takes a turn, and we get so much out of everybody in this episode. So I'm going A+.
Mm-hmm. I'm going a little harsher on it. I'm going with a B+. It's never been top of my list. I don't know why it's never been top of my list, but just the general concept of it appeals to me. And this idea of found family is one that crops up so often for Shawn and Cory. I just feel like there are other times where it's better explored. It feels very surface to me for this episode. And I'm trying not to compare it to other episodes, but it feels like a very surface exploration of it. And it's not a bad episode. It's not one that I'll skip, but I just feel like they could have done a better job with some of the elements to bring it up to that A level.
Yeah. But is not sometimes disagreements between two friends at a surface level and should be easy to get past, and sometimes you just can't?
True.
So, now I will say, Brett, before we get to any dad jokes, we need to figure out how the heck Shawn has a half brother that we never talk about and only have in this one episode.
That's a very good question, because we already figured out his sister. Now we got to figure out this half brother we've never heard about and we'll never hear from again, who still lives in the trailer park. It clearly is not Verna's kid.
Well, here's my theory. I'm thinking it is Verna's kid. Because I'm thinking that Verna is just not a good mom. There are some people out there that are just not good parents. And my thought process is that this is Verna's kid, but she kind of rejected him because she was ashamed of who the father is, because it's not Chet. This is before she's with Chet. And she kind of dumps this child, Eddie, upon the father's doorstep and says, you raise him, your kid, not mine. And then a few years later ends up with Chet, falls in love with Shawn, for some reason didn't love Shawn in a way that doesn't love Eddie, and thus this is how there's animosity between them. Because yes, they are quote unquote brothers, but not really in the sense, So here is who I think the father is, Brett. And this is a stretch. I'll give you that. But here goes. The father is, Brett, Tony from season 2, a.k.a.
Tony.
Other Uncle Mike.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're figuring he's actually Verna's kid. He's not a hunter.
Right, because they never say his last name.
So he's never truly Shawn's half-brother then. Because, okay, spoiler warning, good-looking people, Verna is not actually Shawn's biological mother. But he won't learn that until, season 6?
Correct. And
so,
he learns it through a ghost dad, so how true that is, who knows?
But, so we've got... I can buy this. I can buy this in my headcanon.
Yeah. I mean, it's just... Gosh, Shawn's whole family situation is so complicated.
It is a Gordian knot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this because of the show wanting continuity to mean nothing. Like, they clearly don't have a true show Bible. Like, they just literally throw out anything and everything. Like, I'm amazed
the
that
show
Shawn
Bible has to be like a single page with basically names and maybe jobs.
Yeah,
because birthdays aren't even consistent. Eric's got 2 different.
The Matthews
birthdays.
has 3 children: Cory, Eric, and sometimes Morgan.
Yes. Who didn't show up in this episode, and we just got a new Morgan.
Right? She doesn't come back again. My goodness. Yeah, I don't know, Brett. It's just, this show is what it is. Just drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say to you as well, I was doing a thing today, and I had a teenager literally say, people that do podcasts are weird. And I turn around and I go, I have a podcast. And I was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what's it called? And I go, Dad Meets World. Like, oh, I think you posted about that at one point. I'm like, yeah, I did.
Uh-huh. Every week.
I don't force any of you guys to listen to it, but if you did, it would make me feel a little more special.
And you might learn something.
Yeah, you might learn a little bit about me. Who knows? Golly. Brett, I think it's time for a dad joke.
I think so, too.
What is red, white, and blue at Christmas?
Red, white, and blue at Christmas. Patriotic Santa.
A sad candy cane.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. This is another one. Who is never hungry on Christmas Day?
Never hungry on Christmas Day. I don't know who.
The turkey. It's stuffed.
That's a better Thanksgiving one, though. I do ham on Christmas.
Oh, fair, but good-looking people, that's an episode.
What does your family do for Christmas?
Yeah, what does your family do for Christmas? Let us know.
Yeah, what does your family eat for Christmas?
I mean, you're asking me or you're asking the good-looking people?
I'm asking good-looking people. I'm not going to do the outro.
No, that's all right,
music,
Brett. Don't get to know
gonna,
me any better. That's fine.
It's going to drown you out. You got
sure.
quiet for some reason.
You got quiet. This has been Dads Meet World. We're 2 dads trying to figure out what is this life. And I think we succeeded. Brett, do you want to tell them about those socials we got?
Yeah. You can follow us online at Dads Meet World across Twitter, across Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And you can email us at dadsmeetworld at gmail.com. We love reading emails when they come in. Yeah. And, those are ways you can reach out to us. We love hearing from you.
Yeah. My wife had the nerve one day to say to me, do I actually have to leave a comment or can I just put stars? And I said, do a comment, please. She never did it.
Yeah, and you know what? Leave a comment. It's good. It's good for the algorithm. It's better if you leave a comment than just a star. And leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. That's the best way to. That's the best free way to help us out and show us your love.
Yeah. Show us this love at this time of the year.
The most. Can't be Halloween.
We need to get over this, Brent.
Eric
always,
says Halloween is the most greatest time of year. Until next time,
we'll see
Tyler.
You good looking.
See you good looking.
Also with you.
You know, how can I learn so much every week and still be so stupid?
Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story. Wow, that froze up on my end. Did it freeze up on your end?
I thought that was like, is that just me or is it you?
No, that froze up on my end too. Well, we'll just pretend that we had the theme song then.
When it's Dads Meet World, they want you to take the roles. I just took a bite of Pop-Tart.
Every time. Oh, every time I turn it over.
All right. Wow. Here we go.